Health and wellness. We all can be a little bit healthier. That is the topic today on the School PR Podcast.
Ready or not, here they come. Be sure to visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Advocating for public education, sharing our stories and celebrating our schools, students, and staff. From crisis communications to media relations, social media, and everything in between, we're here to give you the best strategies, tools, and techniques to help you help your community. Welcome to the School PR Podcast, brought to you by Peach Jar, School Status, Nickel Strategies, and S'more. Love 'em or leave 'em. Here's your hosts, Matthew Jennings and Ryan Ferran.
All right, welcome back to the School PR Podcast. A little bit of a left turn today, but it's an important one, Matthew. We're going to talk a little health and wellness and specifically nutrition. We all learned a lot about health and wellness during the pandemic, and I actually used to host a health radio show, a kind of a wellness radio show on ESPN, a local ESPN affiliate in San Luis Obispo years ago. I am definitely into it. It's one of the things that I love researching and discussing and talking about besides like tennis and PR. Health and wellness and medicine is a definite interest of mine. I've read a lot of books. I do a lot of research. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I love talking about it. You and I were chatting today. We have over 100 episodes on public relations, and we're talking, hey, let's talk something health and wellness today. There's this list that I've used to always refer to years ago on my other show that is still out. It's called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And it compares which fruits and vegetables you really should buy organically and which ones, if you're trying to save some money, could you buy so-called conventionally, don't have to worry about organically. And I think it's such a lifesaver. If you're not really sure, this list is just easy, quick. You can put it on your phone. And when you go in the store, you should really buy the ones as you like on the Dirty Dozen. Buy them always organically, because even the Clean 15, there'll be a little bit of pesticides, but they are the cleanest of the fruits and vegetables you can get. So I think it's really important. Matthew, how health conscious are you with diet and nutrition?
Are you talking about vegetables? Is that like what is that? Is that the stuff that grows on the trees? Or nah, man. I'm not a heavy emphasis on it. I did have to chat GPT this. So if you do chat GPT Dirty Dozen Clean 15, it'll give you a nice clean list and give you some of the background there or whatever. I had to look this up. It was the first time I had heard of it. I actually do try to pretty much only buy organic fruit and vegetables. And so I guess I was doing this unknowingly, but my kids eat a ton of apples, strawberries, and blueberries. As a family, we eat some of that and bananas weekly. So we go through those quite quickly. But yeah, this is good. Are we also going to be talking about cold showers today?
If you want, man.
Health and wellness. But yeah, all right. So what do you got on this the Dirty Dozen here? It actually kind of makes sense when you look at the list.
Yeah, it does. And this is, again, I love these topics. And just a little bit of background about why you want to avoid chemicals and pesticides is there. It's kind of obvious for some reasons, but I'll give you a little bit more detail, and you can chat GPT it or Google it yourself. I think everyone's conscious and aware of why pesticides are bad, but we like to be, ignorance is bliss a lot of the time, so we don't like to think about it. But you really should, especially if you have some kind of health issues, you have some symptoms, joint pain, you have an autoimmune, you may have cancer, you may have this or that. You definitely do not want any more toxins. And that's what pesticides are. One of the problems with our health and wellness today, and it's kind of sad because we've never had more information in our lives. And this point in time now, we're very wealthy country. We have some of the best scientists, medical doctors, and research, yet we're one of the sickest nations. One of the reasons I believe, and a lot of people point to, is our toxic load. Yeah. So there's so many things that our body would consider toxic and needs to get out. And, from the lotions we put on our skin to the detergent to the toothpaste to perfumes, like there's toxins everywhere. So the more you can avoid them, the healthier you will be. Specifically for pesticides, they are a definite known hormone disruptor. They affect your thyroid function, your estrogen, testosterone, your insulin sensitivity. Huge. We've been hearing the past decade about your gut microbiome. That's kind of a new thing, but it really causes issues with leaky gut, chronic inflammation. It impacts your immune system big time. You're getting less nutrient absorption, which is already an issue. Then there's neurological effects, ADHD, cognitive decline, brain fog, headache, the huge
Cancer
overload.
risks.
Oh, big time cancer risk, autoimmune, the load on your liver and kidneys. So, I mean, there's so many things. And these are just some of the known links to pesticides. So you definitely want to avoid them when you can. So we just thought we'd give you the top 12 that you really should always buy organically. I buy most everything organically when I can. But here are the top 12 that you really want to buy organically. And Matthew mentioned some of my favorites too that you and your family eat all the time. But number one on the list to buy organically in the Dirty Dozen is strawberries. Strawberries, and it makes sense because you eat the exterior, and a lot of people, you can associate like what you're eating that gets sprayed with this glyphosate and all the stuff that is not good for us. They spray it directly on there. The other thing though to keep in mind, even with bananas and oranges where you're peeling it, the pesticides and the chemicals still get soaked up through the groundwater.
Totally.
Right. And so they're ingested as much, but it's a double whammy if you're eating strawberries where it's in the groundwater and it's on the fruit itself. So strawberries is number one. Spinach is number two, and those are both kind of considered superfoods. The other problem with spinach, if you have joint pain specifically, and this is kind of next level, is the oxalates. So if you're having joint pain, you don't know why, and you're a spinach person, which I used to be big time, spinach has a lot of oxalates that can cause joint pain, so be careful of that. Kale is number three, kale and mustard greens. Grapes, another favorite of the kids, is number four. Peaches, 5. Pears, 6. Nectarines, 7. So again, all those fruits that you're eating, the outside skin, those are right there. Another one of my staples that I've eaten a million of is apples. That's number 8. Always buy those organically. Number 9 is bell and hot peppers. So any type of peppers, again, you eat the outside. And 10 is cherries. 11 is one of everyone's favorites. Blueberries, so good for you, but always buy those organically if you can. And number 12 on that list is green beans.
You know what's funny? Blackberries aren't on that list because I would think blackberries are probably in that same grouping, and that's another favorite of the kids. The whole little thing. So,
and sometimes it has to do with how much they have to spray, and so blackberries may not have the insect problem that the other ones do for some reason.
That's so true.
But that's a good point because there are some of those that aren't on the list. So again, I always try and buy organically, but it's not always easy.
You ever grow your own fruits?
I would love to, but I have not.
No, I've tried it, and the bugs are just insane. I mean, I had some beautiful strawberries one year, and before I could eat them, the bugs destroyed them, and they just move in so fast, and they just take over. And I even went and got ladybugs, and the bugs were eating all the little aphids and everything else. But yeah, it's really hard. So man, hats off to farmers out there and those workers that are able to do this in an organic way and be able to provide us better choices while we're at the market for sure. But it's hard. I don't even know how some of them do it organically.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. Why are they spraying all this? Because if you've ever grown your own fruits and vegetables, it is so hard to keep the bugs away from eating them and destroying them. So, but then it's become so easy. And now even the glyphosate, and I won't get off on this topic, but that's why so many people have celiacs and are getting away from gluten because of how much glyphosate is sprayed. So they spray it during growing of it, and then afterwards they spray a lot of crops so it helps the processing. So it gets sprayed 2 and 3 times. And it's not so much the gluten everyone's allergic to, it's the glyphosate that is all over our gluten. A lot of people go to Europe and they eat pizza, pasta all day and feel great. You come back and try and eat it here, you're bloated, you're sick, you get rashes. So that's one of the reasons people believe that. But before we end this one, let's get to the clean 15. These are the ones if you're budget conscious and you can be worried a lot less about buying organically, which is great. Again, it doesn't mean they don't have pesticides, but it's a lot less. And these are the 15 lowest. And there's some great news, number 1 and number 2 on this list, depending on what year you're looking at. But number 1 is avocados, which is a total superfood that we all eat, which is great. Sweet corn is number 2. I don't touch corn. Yeah, I don't touch corn anymore. I used to love corn, but it's so much genetically modified in our country that I don't really do corn anymore. But that is number 2. If you like corn, that's good news. Pineapple, 3. Onions, papaya, sweet peas, asparagus. Just going down the list here. Asparagus is great too. Honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, watermelon, mushrooms, mangoes, sweet potatoes, and then carrots round out the top 15. And that's good because some of those like watermelon, carrots, and stuff like that, you get at a lot of restaurants and restaurants never use organic. So you can be okay if there's a fruit dish and it's got melon and watermelon. You don't need to be so worried. Some carrots and stuff like that. So that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's a good list. It's very interesting. And it's really good information that I wasn't aware of. So maybe others won't be as well, but it's just kind of a cool list for sure.
Yeah, so that's the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, puts this out every year. They've been doing it for a year. They're kind of a consumer watchdog, and they just do this. It's a nonprofit, and they do a lot of things. I would advise people, another thing that is interesting and a whole different topic, but on their website, they also recommend sunscreens. We all have been told about the dangers of the sun, and we're all getting skin cancer and all this. There's been a lot of pushback, especially from the holistic functional medicine people. Like, no, don't go in the sun for 3 hours. But getting direct sunlight and vitamin D is so essential to people. We've all been lathering sunscreen on, myself included, for years, out playing tennis, golf, and using some of that cheap stuff that we get at the stores. And the question a lot of people are asking, are the chemicals in those sunscreens actually doing more damage and causing more skin cancer than the actual sun? So they have which I think is a phenomenal question, because since the advent of sunscreen, if you look at the rates of skin cancer, there is a direct correlation, some would argue. Anyway, EWG.org has a great list of much safer, less toxic sunscreens and mineral sunscreens that you can use that don't have a lot of those harsh toxic chemicals. So I recommend their site for that too.
That's kind of a cool tip. Absolutely. Sunscreens, and I don't know, you and I talked about this once, Ryan, wearing sunglasses outside. I don't remember. I meant to go back and do the work on this, but I've heard that just wearing sunglasses outside actually can inhibit your body's production of vitamin D out in the sun, because you're blocking the sun's rays and your body's like, oh, it's darker outside. So I know there's some research on that I need to go back and look at.
It's a great point, and I've heard the same thing, and it's true. And there's a sleep doctor that I follow on Instagram, and I have blue eyes. I mean, me and you we're very pale. We've been kicking on sunscreen for years. We have light eyes. So I've had sunscreen, sunglasses for years. But what that does, absorption of vitamin D, like you said, but the eye thing too, especially with people with sleep problem, you want direct sunlight into the eyes. It helps, I think, with melatonin production and things like that. A lot of the biohackers, they'll say first thing in the morning, you want to go out and get direct sunlight right away. And that kicks in your circadian rhythms, the melatonin process and all that. So you're right. We go outside, sunscreen, sunglasses, and we're not getting that natural sunscreen, and the sun absorbs vitamin D. But again, it's one of those, it's like water too. Like, we started in the past decade, 2 decades, hearing about how much water we need to drink. It's like, well, when did that start happening? Well, when they started selling water. Same thing with sunscreen. You got to lather this on. It's like, people existed for hundreds and thousands of years without sunscreen. Now, you don't want to go out and burn yourself. I mean, don't by any means do that.
Exactly.
But there are a lot of new science, and as unhealthy as our country is overall in many countries, the great thing is we do have this information age where people can do a podcast and there's so many functional doctors. And if you're looking for more information, I can talk about this all day, recommend people for you to follow, documentaries for you to watch. I'm also curious because I thought about doing a whole health podcast. So if you're interested in more of these, let us know, because I love chatting about it, love doing the research. Yep. But there's so many good people to follow that have kind of a different school of thought, but a lot of research based, and some of the things we've been doing wrong over the years, and some of the studies they got wrong, and the food pyramid maybe should be reversed and things like that. But I do think it's really important because so many people, I don't know about you, Matthew, but I know way too many people that have had cancer so early, people in their 40s and 50s passing away, autoimmune, all these symptoms. People are sick, depressed, anxiety, and a lot of it is the toxic overload, and a lot of them are easy swaps that we can avoid. So I'm big time into it and think it's so important for people.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, we can do more of these, and we can talk sleep, and that's a whole nother topic. And, it's interesting. You said one thing I'll say really quick, and I know we got to go, which is that, you said, when did we start hearing about drinking water? When they started bottling it and selling it? When did we start hearing about wearing sunscreen? When they started making sunscreen? A little known factoid here in the United States, when we all started wearing bicycle helmets was when the automotive industry wanted to take over the city streets, and get all the horses and bugs and carriages and bicycles off the roads so more cars would have access. So it was actually the car industry that was behind the whole bicycle helmet thing. And it was a fear-based strategy to make it look like bicycles were unsafe, when for 1,000 years we rode bicycles just fine. And in most other countries, they ride bicycles helmet-free all over the place, like Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Denmark, that kind of stuff. And I got that information from one of the city planners there. I think it was in Copenhagen. And he talked specifically about bicycles, helmets in general, and why nobody wears them over there in Europe, which is interesting. So,
wow, that is fascinating. And to a lot of issues that you kind of scratch your head, like many of them, follow the money and you usually find an answer, right?
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Follow the money. Yeah.
All right. Well, a short and sweet podcast. Hopefully you guys found it helpful and informative. Hopefully that helps you. I know a lot of people dealing with some health issues, and it's not fun at all. So if this can help a little bit, I think this is a valuable list. I've been using it for years, and it's quick and easy, and it's just some easy swaps. And here's the ones: buy organic every time, and you'll start feeling better. And it's because it almost defeats the purpose if you're eating these so-called superfoods and they're just laced with chemicals. I mean, you're just doing more damage than good. So
helping yourself. Yeah, thanks for bringing it to everybody, bud.
Yeah, there you go. Great seeing you, Matthew. Great chatting with everyone. And we'll see you guys all very soon on the School PR podcast. Check out our sponsors and check us out on social media. And you can send us an email at schoolprpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Be sure to follow the School PR Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and X, where you can find additional resources and highlights from the show. Please like, subscribe, and all the fun stuff. And most importantly, without our sponsors, this podcast doesn't exist. Please visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Until next time, keep learning, inspiring, and making a difference. Thanks so much for your support of the School PR Podcast.